how it's going to look in the template file. Like I said, you can pass directly through the HTML without worrying about anything. There's no echo tags to toss in there or anything. Where is echo, by the way? So we have the HTML tags, or HTML options function. The values we're pumping through are the 1 to 3, which is the IDs, and the output is the hotels. Yeah, James.
Why don't you use the for each function?
Why don't we?
Yeah.
Why would we?
Like we call stuff from MySQL databases and such, and put them in like a select field like that, and we do for each. Is it different because it's a flat file?
From my experience, I'm not using, well, this is the template file. The actual data is the hotels file, or the hotels variable. So when you're calling into MySQL, it's going to pump it out. If you use like PairDB correctly, it's going to pump it out into an array that Smarty knows how to deal with. And it's going to do the work for you. So you don't have to worry about parsing through that data, exploding it, delimiting it with like a colon or something. That's all done for you. It's just a simple array. Like I showed you early in the variables example, when you have like user.email, when you have the associative array, that's the word. When you have the associative array, it'll actually just deal with that for you, how you'd want to deal with it. And if not, make a plugin to do it. So our output on the website, just one row, for example, looks like this. You have your select, which we already had in there. It's going to do your option line for you. The label tosses up there, and the actual option name is going to pop up there, and the value, which you're probably going to want to use to pass back to PHP when they select that, is in there. And say you had all the presidents and you had a website for your students, or say you had all the United States and you want to do, and you had it in a database, and you didn't want to have that like asinine 200 long list of different things in your actual HTML. Well, you're never going to have to touch this because the cache is the cache. You never have to edit that yourself. All you're going to see is this small line in your template file. So not only do you separate the templating and the actual application code, but you're downsizing it extremely. So here's some quick functions that, there's quite a few more, but these are just some examples. When you want to do a counter, like I said, you can do this a lot easier than actually making your own value and making a loop with a section. So you can just do a counter, start at 0, skip 2, iterate at 2, and do whatever you need between that. Mail to function. This has a couple more examples too. Like you can do the carbon copy. Blind carbon copy stuff in here. You can actually do JavaScript encoding to make that come up correctly. So that has a lot of attributes also. And then fetch, if you want to toss in like a text file from someplace and not really deal with much more than that, just fetch the file. There's actually one other one I didn't talk about. It's called capture. It'll actually let you, toss in the word capture between the delimiters. Say you fetched a file and then you turn and and capture. On that file that you're going through, you can truncate it if you want or do whatever, and it's going to do that pre-processing for you. And the really useful function that a lot of people get a kick out of because they had to make their own loops for this all the time, cycling through those colors on your table, because for readability reasons you don't want to have all the same colors rows on your 200 row table. So you just type in your cycle values in there within your section, which is all this is so small. And you probably could actually use the HTML table in here too. I just kind of did it like this. But if you wanted those cycle values to be those constants, use the configuration file. And then if you change your template or you copy and paste your template directory and want to make another template for it, a green one or red one, just edit those two spots in the configuration file, and you're good to go. Yeah, what you miss?
Suppose you were going to do that with purely with cascading style sheets. Now, how would you cycle that? Just have a cycle values like ID equals.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a problem. Anything you need to cycle through, as long as it's in the order that you want it, and as long as it's not going to interfere with the rest of your style sheet stuff, it should be cool. A plugin, I'm not sure if they have it, but it would be actually pretty useful to make, is if you could toss in your cycle value, and then toss in like the variable that you want to deal with, and then toss in an ending value, so you could close off those div tags or something. That'd be pretty useful. Okay.
Very good.
So yeah, and you're just, you're going through your data on your table cells like that, straightforward still. So that kind of combines a couple elements of Smarty, and just think of the last time you had to make that table data with the MySQL stuff or whatever, and you parse through it and you parse through it to do this and that, or you had all straight text files that you had to deal with. It's just insanely quicker. So. And this is out of their book. They call it advanced stuff. I'm not sure why it's the advanced stuff, but pre-filters, you can remove those unwanted comments from the templates before they are compiled. The post filters are adding those unwanted comments, but cooler. So say the original comments had like, God, I don't know, like this website sucks or something in there, and then you add in the post filter, created by Smarty, copyright, blah blah blah. That's something that you don't want to have to do every page you do. So just copy and paste it, and you're good to go. And the output filters, I'm going to show you an example of how to make a plugin with an output filter. This is going to replace, in my example, replace your user-friendly tags. You guys see, like in WordPress or whatever, you have the bracket tags where it says like code, and then you end it with a /code and bracket tags instead of typing like the code tag in HTML and the pre-tag in HTML, and your class for showing code correctly or whatever. So this is a lot quicker way to do it, and a lot of people implement similar functions. So here's a really, really quick and horrible plugin I made for the example of this. It's pretty good just to keep it hierarchical. So Smarty underscore what type of filter, an output filter underscore, and what's the name of it. I called it tags. So you have your source data, and then Smarty, which is the link back to your actual templating. And it knows how to deal with these kind of things for you. You don't really have to know how it really works out. All you have to know is how to program what's inside here, and then just return the value back. And that's what you wanted it to do. So we're going to find the code tags and replace them with the HTML needed. So just go through PHP. It's no different than anything else you've ever done. Just make the function all in PHP, and then cycle through that and get rid of all the tags you don't want there. And how to call a plugin. This will actually be in the actual PHP file when you're doing your invocation of the class file, creating the new instantiation of Smarty. So all you're going to type is load filter, what type, output filter, and then the name of that, tags. And there's a directory under the structure of the actual library installation of Smarty. It'll just say plugins. All the plugins are in there. They're uniformly named. There's a direct naming convention that you can abide by if you really feel like it. And then obviously you're going to display the page that you just loaded through the filter. So. How am I doing on time?
15 minutes.
Okay, cool. Template caching. You are able to cache the entire page or just a single section, like I was explaining earlier. Why cache the news more than every 5 minutes or something? If it's going to be updating, don't wait a week and a half to recache it. But for the stuff like the sidebar or the footers or something, you're not going to have to redo that. So don't waste the processing power to do it. So here's an example I just made up. You query your news database each time someone visits the site. Instead of this, cache the news page and show the static page to people. Set the refresh for whatever you wish. So 60 minutes, an hour, whatever. Well, 60 minutes or an hour and a half. Basic aspects to caching are, I actually had these in my notes. The 0 means off, which is the default. 1 means on, and then the 2 means it's on. But you can also, basically in your template file, toss down that you want separate sections. If in the same template file, you can actually denote separate cache lifetimes, which is the next thing down here. The cache lifetime, just the number of seconds, so 3600 for the hour or whatever. And if for some reason you have to destroy the cache file within your program, you can clear cache. And so.
Would that be used for security purposes?
It'd be used for, man, what would it be used for? I don't use it. But there's actually something else I thought I included in here before I get to this part, because this is the most important part, of course. You can actually do caching groups, so you don't have to invoke a bunch of clear caches. You can actually denote one name and then pipe the names of the separate sections, and then just clear cache in the whole thing. So So that's pretty much the end of my presentation. I'd like to thank Smarty most importantly for posting that we were speaking here. They seem to get a lot of attention for Notacon, which is awesome. Of course, thank all of you for actually staying around for the last speech of the day and not going to Root Druid. He seems like an elite hackster, but whatever. Joe Stump, who was my boss this summer, who actually told me about this and PairDB and some other stuff. My fellow core staff and all our brave volunteers, and then pretty much everyone in this room. Is everyone here on the slide? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Everyone's on the slide, right? So everyone's on the slide, right? All right.
We have a question.
References.
Question.
So, reference it. Okay. Yeah, questions.
What's the security history of Smarty?
Lately, it's been pretty crappy. They just had a vulnerability in the strip tags mechanism. But like I said, if you turn on safe mode, it's going to alleviate a lot of that. And there's not a whole lot of reasons why you can't turn on safe mode. But for the most part, man, it's so easy to update. I don't know why you wouldn't. It's not like updating bind. You have to like turn it off and recompile it. Just copy and paste the files into the directory or update with the patch files. It's not a big deal. So, anyone else? Citadel?
Random Googling.
Random Googling. Like all good presentations.
Awesome. Is that what college kids do now on their references? Is Google?
Pretty much. All right, and that's it. Anyone?